What's up, everybody? It's Chad. We're back again with another episode of Ash. Thank you for that, by the way. Another episode of Ash Chad Grassy Logic. As you guys see here today, we're doing something a little bit different. I feel like we've done that all season, just something a little bit different every now and then. Huh?
You gotta keep growing.
Right, and trying different things. And today it's going to be a different kind of conversation. I really only have one conversation saved for us today, but it's an important one. We've been experiencing a string of burglaries here in New Mexico, in Las Cruces, in New Mexico in general, in Las Cruces at the cannabis dispensaries and even at a smoke shop. So it looks like they're expanding, and everyone sitting in the room with me right now has experienced, some of these break-ins. So we're going to talk about that. But first, before we do that, I'm going to introduce everybody. Then we're going to get an update of what everyone's been up to, because Melodie was actually on the show a couple of years ago. So thank all of you for joining me today, and Melodie, thank you for joining me again.
Yes, thank you for having us. We're super excited to be here. I'm excited to be here for my second episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. So super excited to dive into these topics today.
Dope. Appreciate it. And Leon, go ahead and introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm Leon Harris, owner of Vibe Cannabis here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, co-owner in Connoisseur Collective and Chile brand, and just here to kind of talk about industry and support the topics around what we need to do to help improve Las Cruces.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, sir.
Bobby, go ahead, my man.
Name is Bobby. Bobby, go by Bobby Boulevard. I'm an artist, cannabis salesman / everything else in between. Co-founder of Chili brand, and first time on Ask Chad. So happy to be here. Excited to be here.
Appreciate it. And it was a pleasant surprise having you on. I wasn't aware of it until they came. I was like, oh, cool. The more the merrier.
Last minute. Probably about 15 minutes before.
Well, it worked out because unfortunately someone didn't show up. This was supposed to be on the show. So I'm glad that, we have the full panel and we can get some more experience. And of course, coming from a new brand, Chile. So I'll start with you. Where does your experience in the cannabis industry come from?
So started off at the turn of legalization as just doing some consulting and wholesaling, networking and stuff like that. Got into depth with the business over time, got connected with a lot of good people in the state of New Mexico. And since then, been going full force with sales for one of the biggest cannabis producers in New Mexico, Desert Peaks Farms. Been there for a couple of years, driving sales through the roof over there. We began the brand at the turn of the year with Chile. Just was an idea, getting some good people together and, created a good concept, trying to pack the culture and good products within the brand. And, it's just been a great journey since then.
Absolutely.
Nice, man. Yeah, dope. And the Chili brand, it's been a surprising thing. When I remember I was like, that's genius. I don't know why no one's done that yet. We're all about Chile here, especially green chili. Yes. So it's like, why hasn't anybody done it? And so it makes sense to finally see it pop up. Yeah. And the fact that it popped up in the South is something that's even cooler, because we down in the South like green chili a little bit more than our chili. Yeah, we love our chili a little. Hatch is right there. We're the land of the chili down here. Yeah. Up north, you like it a little more red. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Red's good. Don't get me wrong, but I like my green a little bit more than anything. So that's cool that you came up with that brand and everything, and I'm seeing it more and more pop up in different places. And it's kind of a brand that you can just recognize, especially in New Mexico.
It's definitely gaining momentum.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
all the way from here, Las Cruces to Sunland. We're breaking out to up north as well already. So it's becoming something good.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah. So, Leon, go ahead. What about you? Where's your cannabis experience come from and everything? I know I got Melodie's story last time, so it's time for yours.
Well, I started cannabis. I got my first legal license back in the days of Colorado's upstart. So I got my first legal license back in 2012.
Okay.
So I've been doing cannabis for quite some time, building brands, designing grows, production facilities, labs. I decided to come down to New Mexico with my family, and we started a few different brands. Take advantage of the opportunity to get into adult care, which, at the time when I got into it in Colorado was kind of like a missed window for me being so young, but got a second chance down here.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've just been bringing the knowledge down here, helping people expand on their brands, their ideas, and their dreams within the culture.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because I say this a lot as a joke, but a lot of people in the industry in New Mexico haven't ran anything more than a track,
Yeah.
let alone a business.
Right.
So having someone to come and mentor you, it's a big help sometimes.
Yes,
and
it
you can avoid a lot of bullshit.
Well, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of things to know. There's a lot of compliancy things, which Melodie's really good at. She's the best with some of that stuff. But it's just there is a lot to unpack when when it comes to having a business.
Yeah.
And cannabis is just the fun part of it, but it's still a business.
Yeah.
So.
And I think a lot of people fail to see that part of, this part of the industry. Like, I get it. We have the consumer part, you have the traditional market part, but you also have the actual business part of cannabis. And even some business operators don't, really know it too.
Yes.
So it's good to know that, you have the background from both.
Yeah. It's just experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a tough industry, as everyone knows. The rescheduling's helping out a lot now, but it was been a tough industry for almost 2 decades. Colorado did their first amendments for Amendment 22 back in 2008. So we started playing back in those days, and it's come a long, long way now going in 2026. But it's we're finally looking at a real opportunity to operate like a business.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people struggle with operating a cannabis business is they can't use the traditional or conventional means, like go to a bank.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even use a bank at all for that matter. So it's been very difficult. People don't understand those simple conveniences and opportunities is what make a lot of these things possible for people. And when you're not afforded that, it's exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, because we're used to having limited to no help, or assistance whatsoever when it comes from the government.
And then you have none with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get laughed at.
Taking it away because you're that. So.
Yeah, exactly. You say cannabis, and all of a sudden you're a criminal.
Yeah, but they are recognizing who we are, and that's a good thing. So big changes coming next month in terms of legalization, rescheduling. So good for everybody to kind of hold on to what they've had and just hold on a little bit more, and you'll be able to see a big turn once that comes.
Yeah. And what he's talking about is next month they're having that hearing, or I think June 29th.
Yes.
The federal government's having that hearing for the rescheduling stuff. I don't really know what's going to happen, to be honest. We'll see. They could expand all of cannabis into it. That's what some people are thinking. But we could see it remain the way it is right now too. We'll see. The government's always one of those weird, wacky things where you can guess what's going to happen, but sometimes you're just going to be way off.
Yeah, it's not until it does. Some of the places have been, some financial institutions and stuff have been reaching out. They're taking those chances, taking the chance to say that they are more, at least on the risk side of it, seeing that it is going to change.
Yeah.
So they are kind of preparing themselves to come in and actually help all of us. So those are some of the big trends and changes that I have seen on the back end. That's given me a little bit more hope that the approval might be there or not.
Yeah.
But you never know.
You never know, especially with this administration. Yeah.
But, I'm really hopeful. Trump's administration, he's good at putting people in that do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And since he said he wanted this done, there's a good chance that it might get done. So that's good for us in the industry, at least. So that's why I'm pretty hopeful for it.
Yeah, and we can all hope for that. Of course, we all wanted, to deschedule, all together and everything.
Yeah.
That we all wanted that, and hopefully that's still the plan in the future. Because we can't just rely on Schedule 3 and hemp to really get us by. It's really not feasible for the future.
No, not long term.
Yeah, and so this is a great short term, kind of thing to kind of figure out.
At least in the right direction. At least a baby step in the direction of legalization and full descheduling. You know what I mean? I feel like at least better than nothing versus just keeping it as a Schedule 1. If it was like the option of keeping it as a Schedule 1 or just taking the Schedule 3, I think Schedule 3 is better.
Way better.
If descheduling wasn't even an option on the table at all. Obviously descheduling would be ideal. It would be the number one option. If we could just regulate it like, alcohol. Tomatoes or alcohol, and I even say like tomatoes for cannabis, because it's like you can have home growers who grow their own that sell it at the farmer's market. You can have large scale farmers who, provide to Walmart, ones that provide to Whole Foods, Sprouts, all different types of cultivators that can provide in all different types of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People can have their own gardens at home. that would obviously be the most ideal route. But, if we can at least get some banking, some tax relief and things like that, less, cannabis excise tax, that would, benefit the consumer. Maybe we can push more people towards the medical route. If it did go Schedule 3, maybe it's a great opportunity to push people into exploring medical cannabis more and how that can treat, certain ailments in their life that, maybe they didn't know about before because it was so stigmatized as a Schedule 1. They weren't willing to take any type of legal risks, to treat their health. Maybe this will open up more pathways for people to feel comfortable, at least looking at it in a medicinal way as well.
Well, while we got you talking, why don't we get, to your background and everything where it comes from. I know you shared it the first time, but, for the new people listening, go ahead and, give us your background.
So I've been in the cannabis industry for quite some time. I got in 2013 in Colorado. I started off, all the way at the in the beginning as a bud tender. And so, I worked bud tending for a while, worked my way into management roles. And then from there, I moved into, operational roles, director of operation roles, directors of sale roles. And then from there, that's when I had met Leon. And we were actually in the same building. He had his company down the hall, CO2 extraction lab and grow. And I was in the in another unit in the same building. We had a BHO extraction lab and a grow. And so we were actually in the same building for about a year before we ever crossed paths and met each other. But once we did, I decided to shift over to his company. And from there, we kind of grew a lot of things from there. We did the lab, we did the grow. From there, we moved on to a 40-acre property where we grew outdoor hemp. We were part of the big CBD boom back then. So we did outdoor hemp, turned all of that into various CBD products, tinctures, dog treats, body butters, CBD flour, concentrates, vapes, you name it, all the different products that you can make with CBD, and opened a CBD store. And so we ran that for some time. And then that's around when COVID had started. And so, we kind of shut down shop for a bit, just kind of, navigated that whole period of time. And then when that started to level out, we got the CBD business going again, and we came here to New Mexico kind of just by chance. We came to visit my mom and dad for Cinco de Mayo, and that's when we saw that it had went recreational out here just about a month before in April. And so we were like, what does it take to open up out here? And when we saw, what it took, we felt, that we would be able to do that. And so we got a property. We opened up our first shop out here, which we ran for quite some time, Premier High Life. From there, we opened New Era, Connoisseur Cannabis, and now Vibes Cannabis.
Dope. So you guys have been, doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So the New Era thing, are you still, associated with that project, or are you kind of just?
So New Era, we kind of, we just kind of re-strategized. We just kind of shifted that into Vibes. And so New Era is
rebranded,
restructured.
Organizationally. So new management, new ownership levels, partnerships, and new image. New image.
New everything, just a total rebrand.
Yeah.
We really loved New Era and everything that we did with that. I just feel like maybe our location there, it wasn't.
It's a little hidden.
The location was tough.
It was it was tucked away. For sure.
Very tucked away. And recessed.
You would think Calici's being right there would help, but Calici's is more street front, versus where you guys.
It's eye level.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
driving on the street, they're like. And they look this way, they see a wall that says, Fiesta Village or whatever it's called. And you can see that it's there, but you don't know that that's New Era. So and people can't find it. They're calling us. They're driving around the whole place.
So it was an actual issue.
This is the worst issue. Google, even our vendors were like, hey, this is how you get there. You could not get there.
There's some good support from all the hippie yoga people, though.
We had they were the only people that would bring traffic to the park. We did all the deals for them.
Oh, heck yeah. Yoga Friday.
So, we did what we could over there. We did really make a lot of great things happen. But at the end of the day, we decided the best thing to do for the business and for, for all of us to make it work a little bit better and how we envisioned it was just to re-strategize it, just to rebrand it, give it a whole new look, a whole new vibe. And that's kind of why we're like vibes, you know what I mean? Like new era, it was its own era. But now we're ready to, to bring the vibes all the way up. And so,
so we got the new location.
And where's the new location?
It's at 615 East Lowman Ave. It's the old Firehouse dispensary location. We've rebranded, remodeled it. And we do have a indoor smoking consumption opportunity that we're going to be launching later.
No way! Get the fuck out!
Yes.
Congratulations! I'm excited now.
That's going to bring a little difference because it's not about ushering a whole bunch of like big, massive party, but it's about having something local for the community to be able to stop in, do what they need to do, get some information. And when they want to come in and talk with us, sometimes they want to talk and they want to talk shop and they want to do this, but it's like, hey, let's talk shop and let's have a spot.
Yeah, that's
and the consumers would love that because there's so many times they would love to do that. So that's one of the vibes I'm trying to bring there is let's bring it back in there. Let's see what we can do to engage and be tighter with our community and just provide them a lot more options. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have a lot more customizable options in that type of setting. So we're going to be bringing some of that to the neighborhoods, being able to have tastings and things like that to introduce better products, more, more high-end tech and stuff that people have that you may not have access to or not want to buy yet because they don't understand like how the value is behind it. But we're trying to bring these things to really help the community.
I really like that because you can throw in like a Puffco day where you can show.
Maybe a Puffco day. Let me explain this to you. Let me grab this. Let me show you because until I smoked out of a Puffco, even being in cannabis for all these years, I would not want to pay $500 for a Puffco.
Fair enough.
I'm not gonna lie. It's just when you're a business owner and stuff, you're like, you see $500, you're like, I don't know. But after I started dabbing out of it, yes, you want a Puffco because from your first dab, you already can take 3 more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's all in the chamber. So you're like, I'm not losing it. It's not all in the air.
So,
at that point, I was just like, whoa. So I started buying them and selling them in the shops and doing all that. So now it's a matter of, hey, we got these opportunities. Let's go on and start bringing this experience to the people because, the shops have been around forever already, Let's go on and let's bring a little bit more. So that's
more
what we're
experience.
More experience-based cannabis.
I'm glad to hear it because, consumption lounges is something new nationwide.
Yeah.
Even Washington and Colorado haven't even done it yet. And they were the first 2.
Yes.
And so New Mexico, I was a part of the SM 105. It was to update our medical cannabis laws. And that's actually where lounges came from is around 2018, 2019 here in New Mexico. And actually I was on the lounges like little committee thing. Oh, cool. And so I was on, the one writing on the board and shit, all the information. And so a lot of the things that you've said, really goes back to the reason why we created lounges in the first place.
Right.
And it was for the consumer that couldn't consume at home or, they lived on base or they lived in public housing or, because a lot of spouses smoke weed, y'all. You didn't know that, their significant others who are in the military cannot, but they can. And a lot of them do have medical cannabis cards, et cetera. Yes. So it's great for someone to have that space to go and to socialize because not every cannabis consumer wants to sit at home and just smoke. Some of them, we want to be social.
Kids at home, we have a lot of stuff. These are influence factors that you just still don't necessarily want in young children's lives and things like that. Having a safe space, public safe area, public health standards around it is what people do desire. It's what they want. And it's just as, and if we do it correctly, just like with everything else, alcohol, we can have people that go out and do what they do, get food, get cannabis, change it up. So
and there's already places in New Mexico, like Astro Buds, where you can go get food and cannabis in a cannabis drink and all that. And
everything. Amazing deployment that they did.
Oh, bravo.
Bravo.
I had to at least throw that out.
Yeah, me too. I try to give them, props where I can and stuff, and everything. Everything good, Gina? Okay, cool. Just making sure that we had an issue with the stream or something. But yeah, that's great to hear that you guys are doing that. Congratulations. Yes. Are you guys utilizing the walk-up window that they had there?
Yes, we are. We're going to be launching a bigger campaign. I'm going to have the outdoor menu system up by this weekend. So we'll now have the outdoor menu digital and all that stuff to help with attraction and things like that. But yes, we have activated the window. You can come up and get special deals from the window and things like that.
Nice. Are you guys going to be 24/7 like it used to be?
Yes, we are working towards the 24/7 model. We're looking to service a lot of the, warmer, now that we're moving and trending into the summer months, we're looking to service a lot of the late night downtown area after hours and things like that. We're only about a 3-minute drive from your centralized rad and bars areas, so
you should work with that taco truck down the street because they usually attract all the people leaving the bars.
Hey,
and like all the late night stuff. Yes,
Yes.
the one on the right side. It used to be in the middle. But actually, you know,
that's when I saw
when I partied back in the day,
Truck's
it's so good, especially at like 2 a.m. Oh,
burritos and burgers,
Yeah.
something and brisket and
yeah. Leave some flyers there, you know, or something for some pre-rolls.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Actually.
I'll put a QR there. You go, you shop there, you can come get a joint half off or something.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to do that so we can at least get them out at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Run the window service. You know, the doors will be closed, but the window view.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then they can walk up and, you know.
Yeah, and we want to be, and that model is to cater to people that want to get in and out.
Yeah.
You know, when we launched the smoking experience, that's more why we have the inside dispensary piece to blend it over. You know what I mean? But
definitely. Well, sounds like a vibe.
Yes. Hey, he's getting it.
Hard not to,
Right?
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's been a good journey, man. Yeah, hopefully some of these rescheduling and everything can lighten up a little bit on the federal laws for the producers and stuff to help New Mexico flow a little bit more fluidly and help us make some honest money out here.
Yeah.
In turn, helping everybody else make some money, but there's just some laws that we're always going to see that learning, the give and take, and and it's like we've been given the ingredients as much as chaos is going on. We've been given the ingredients for whatever we want to make, whatever recipe we want to make.
Yeah.
I think we got the standard kind of basics
Really
here. It takes a little bit of messing up in for CCD to understand exactly what they're trying to enforce, and it takes a little bit of growth.
Yeah.
I think that we're in that stage.
Yeah,
Feel like the
CCD
market is kind of plateaued a little bit, and we're not like in a total race to the bottom.
It's getting better.
That's one thing that I will piggyback off of is New Mexico kept the industry from bottoming out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Most of them that followed in suit of Colorado, California, and other big ones, it was a race to the bottom. That's why a lot of them blew it up.
Yeah.
But great operators and people from Colorado that had come down here and stuff like that. They understood that what we did back in Colorado days, and that was not the goal, you know. But we fell for it, and we crashed it out a little bit. That's why cannabis is the way it is there. But
there's only a certain sustainable kind of price and or level we can go in New Mexico without seeing it just crash. You know? And
honestly, I see the prices actually going up.
Yeah, and the quality is actually getting better too. And I knew through time.
Better than Dude, 5 years ago when we came down here, I was scared.
I was too, and I was a patient then.
I was like, oh no.
It's like, nerd.
I haven't had to buy cannabis in forever.
Yeah, we called them the Dirty 30 for a reason.
Yeah. What is this? But
seeing a little bit of progress now. Huh?
True.
Seeing a little bit
it's
of
more.
progress.
You guys have put on golden armor now.
Yeah, and
New Mexico has sheathed themselves in golden armor.
We did, and we really leaned on our micro grows and our smaller producers and stuff like that.
What's going on? They have the heart, the love, the
Yes.
social equity piece as well from the CCD and the New Mexico side is great.
Yeah,
because it does keep a lot of focus on the people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, and that's who really drives this industry.
Yeah,
it's the love that comes from the people. When you put it in any MSO or big corp hands, I mean, you're gonna get good. You're going to get a passable product and stuff, but it's the love that goes into these smaller ones that makes brands like Connoisseur and Chile and Vibes really pop because we go and look for them.
Yeah.
Like we are looking for you if you are a small micro grow that has fire, if you have like your idea, your brand, your product. We are looking for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've told people through the years, you're going to have your Bud Lights.
Yes.
You're also going to have your microbrews, like your Santa Fe Brewery kind of style of cannabis. Like just kind of stuff, just local good shit. You're also going to have your garage shit. The stuff that was homegrown that's still fire. Fire, always fire.
It's the stuff you get at Christmas, and you're like,
yes, dude.
I know what this is. It's my favorite.
Yeah,
ready to go inside. It's your favorite gift, and everything.
Exactly.
Mason jar, bro. What is this?
It is. I mean, it's not
running inside with it.
It's good because it's free too, but it's also just always good because they put so much passion and love into it.
The energy gets transferred right off the bat.
Energy transfer.
Energy transfer from the grower to the plant.
You can even tell when they trimmed it. They just loved everything they did.
Yeah.
I hate trimming. Don't get me wrong, but I when I do it with love. There's a lot of love hating it, but I do it with love.
Motivation to get going.
Yeah.
You're like,
all right, Trim Joe, what do you do? So I get it. But dope, and I appreciate the dialogue and everything. But let's talk about Connoisseur Cannabis for a little bit. We haven't been able to talk about that because the last time you were on, it wasn't even an idea yet. So how long have you guys been around now?
So we have been open almost 1 year now. 7/10 is actually our anniversary. And so, yeah, honestly, we kind of just stumbled into the opportunity. It happened very quickly, but, when we see a good opportunity, we like to move fast. And so Connoisseur Cannabis actually used to be a different brand, Greengo.
Yes.
And so Greengo was an established brand. They had couple locations. They were here from the beginning and for a couple years. But when they kind of decided that they were done with this industry and going to be moving out of there, that's when the opportunity kind of fell into our lap that we can take over this great spot, great visibility. We have the experience and the knowledge to make it work here. And so we said, hey, let's just take that risk. Let's just go ahead and do it. We're cannabis connoisseurs. You know what I mean? I think that we should just put that right into our name to let people know exactly what we're about and what we are offering. Just cut right to the chase. This is Connoisseur Cannabis. You already know, what to expect when you're coming to our store. It's going to be top tier flower, top tier concentrates, pretty much all top tier products. And the way that we do our purchasing is it's only the products that we would personally be happy to consume ourselves is what goes on the shelf. No, easy to sell items, no high margin, low quality items. We don't allow any of that in our store. You know what I mean? We are very humble with the way we do business. We make modest margins, but what we really care about is providing quality medicine to our community and quality products to our community, having a lot of integrity behind what we do, and just really giving people a good experience. You know what I mean? We've been in this industry for a long time, and so we do it because we love it, not because we're trying to make a quick buck. And so, I always tell people, to be in this industry, you have to love cannabis and you have to love business. And that's just kind of what me and, Leon are both into. Bobby, our business partner, he's the same way. And that's why we just all have vibed so great together. And so Connoisseur Cannabis just kind of started as a thought and it turned into something amazing to this day. We're crushing it. We're doing really great. The community loves us. We've been able to put on a lot of great events at our facility, as well as some of the local lounges here in town. And so, we look forward. This is only the beginning, and we look forward to honestly what's to come.
Yes.
Definitely. Dope. Appreciate that. You guys have been putting out good shit. We even had our own rosin there for a bit. We're actually out now. So we got to wait until we get going. We have to do our new facility stuff and we're getting close. We're getting close. So we even had our rosin there. Really great product. Go check it out. And what's the address?
It's going to be 1810 East Loman.
Awesome. Cool. So, and actually both your shops aren't too far from each other, right?
Yep, they're about a mile apart. So 615 East Loman for Vibes Cannabis, 1810 East Loman for Connoisseur Cannabis.
Dope. Awesome. And thank you for that. I wanted to dig into that too, because last time that we were on, it was only New Era that we had. And so now, that we have a couple of more that you have now. Congratulations. And now one possible lounge.
Right.
I wanted to talk about both and make sure that both got the same kind of headline and everything as everyone else. So I appreciate that. Well, I appreciate you guys, telling me all the good stuff, stories, backgrounds. Leon, thank you so much. This is my first time sitting down and talking with you as well as Bobby. It was great talking to both you gentlemen and hear your background and everything. But I really want to jump into the next conversation and the reason why I brought y'all here. I wanted to get everybody an idea of who you are, what you do, what you bring. I don't want to take that away from your businesses, but I also want to talk about your businesses in this sense too, because it's an unfortunate thing that we have to talk about. So is there anything you guys want to talk about before we move on to the next conversation?
We're good, man. Anything,
cool.
Anything you want to know?
I'll give everybody an opportunity before we do. So what I'm talking about, guys, and I'll address the elephant in the room, is we've been having a string of break-ins, as I said earlier in the episode, and everyone sitting in the room with me has been experiencing that. We were supposed to have one other person, but she couldn't make it. But I'll talk about it too as well. And these people aren't the only ones. It's been happening to quite a few in the city. So I'll explain to you guys right now. So there's been some burglaries that have been happening at the dispensaries. Melodie's was hit last month, or was it a couple weeks ago, the first time?
It was May 17th.
Okay.
was the first attempted break-in at Vibes Cannabis. 3 masked individuals came up to the door, throwing rocks at the glass. Once they broke the glass, they attempted to kick it open, but they were unsuccessful in breaching the entry at Vibes Cannabis. So we were very grateful for that the damage was only to the door. It was only property damage and not a significant loss. However, on Memorial Day weekend, I believe, what day was that? The 22nd?
Yeah.
Just a few days ago.
Yeah, a few days ago, early Monday morning at 3 a.m., the same 3 individuals did break into Connoisseur Cannabis. It was very unfortunate. You know what I mean? We did suffer some property damage and some product stolen. And also, it is just, such a violating feeling to enter your business and just see, what's been done. And so it's happened to us, attempted at our other location, a successful break-in at Connoisseur. I know it's been happening to several of the other dispensaries locally here in town, even just some that are even close nearby to us as well. And so it's not right. It's not cool. These are small businesses, you know what I mean? We put our heart and soul into these. And so for these people to just come and just try to mess it up, just to get a quick score, it's not right, and something really needs to be done.
100%, and thank you for sharing that and everything. And there are significantly more dispensaries that are experiencing this, but for some reason, some don't want to speak up in fear of either retaliation or getting worse. But it's just going to continue if you don't speak up too. So it's one of those things that if you have a problem and you allow it to continue, it's going to continue to get worse. And so you're going to continue to get broken into. Someone that I talked to recently, and he changed his mind on the matter, is he had been broken into 4 different times. And like, that was the first time him telling me. He said, but I didn't want to tell anybody because I thought it happened, it would keep happening. I was like, bro, 4 times doesn't tell you that it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of realized, like, oh shit, you're right. Maybe I should say something and, be more active. Luckily he is taking, measures to secure his facility more, his dispensary more. He's having the roll down, metal stuff, thing to put on there and everything. And even the Apple stores did that. I worked for Apple for a bit when I lived in Hawaii. Hawaii, shout out. And so when I was living there, I worked at Apple. Even they had the drawdown metal thing that they locked up. At
just because you have to. There's certain measures that have to go into play. A lot of people don't really know, but there are a lot of things you have to think about. And until you get the experience in the field, you're not going to know. But these are things that we just have to do, constantly reinforce, and it will deter what it is. However, it is about time that the police and others kind of take this a little bit more seriously, because they're getting way more brazen. Yeah, they are. They are definitely starting to do way more aggressive and crazy stuff.
Exactly, and we'll explain that in a minute. I wanted to touch on real quick how old these kids are. So they're about 12 to 16 years old. So these are literally kids, just teenagers, just starting their life out, and they don't need to be headed down a road like this. They need better guidance. So they need to pay for the consequence. They need to pay for the consequences of their actions, but they also need better guidance in their life. Like, adults shouldn't be doing this either, but the fact that it's kids worries the shit out of us even worse, and like, that's even scarier because they don't realize the impact of what they're doing. An adult has more of an idea, but a kid, there's so many things going on through their head that they don't really realize the impact of what they're doing. Yeah, they're not comprehending how much they're hurting other people doing this, and playing gangster, comes with a cost. And and sometimes exactly, and then this is a very risky game, and a lot of us sitting in this room, we've all had experience with the traditional market back in the day, and we realize how real those threats really are. And if this was that kind of thing, when none of this would fly, is what I'm trying to say. Now we're on the legal side, we have the legal route we have to go. But if this was the traditional market side, that would not happen at all. It'd be handled way more differently. I'm telling you that. So. Luckily, we are in the legal market now. We are on the legal side where we have our legal steps that we can take. It's just unfortunate that they're not as fast as we thought they would be, and they're not as strong as we thought they would be. So now we're being forced to be more vocal, and I wouldn't say to be more aggressive, but to be more proactive in fighting this ourselves and to working with the government. I will explain what he's talking about when he said they're getting more aggressive. One of the people that couldn't make it was the smoke shop that was broken into, I think the same day as you guys as well. I think they hit a couple of, same night. I think they went around and they hit a few. So they hit a smoke shop over on Highway 70, or it's called called Bataan Smoke Shop or Bataan Smoke Shop. I got bitched at by a lady in Hawaii for saying Bataan. It's Bataan because it's Filipino, it's Tagalog. It's a province in the Philippines, and if locally you guys know it as the Bataan or Bataan Death March, and that's because there was a war during World War II. There was a battle in Bataan, and Filipino and American soldiers were captured, and they were forced to walk a 65-mile death march. And unfortunately, about 1,800 New Mexico Army National Guard troops were involved with that as well. So that's one reason why we honor it so much here in New Mexico, is because so many of our own were in that, and only 800 came back after that. Wow. So a little tidbit of history for you guys on the name of Bataan and where it comes from, actually. But they're called Bataan Smoke Shop, and I wanted to honor at least with a little bit of history. Unfortunately, their facility took the most damage, I think, out of anybody so far. Yes. A vehicle was rammed right through the front door of the smoke shop, and they just went in and ransacked. I think they even pushed displays over. They were just destroying shit, really. I think they said over $20,000 or something like that of property damage. Yeah, that they have to foot the bill. She sent me a picture, and
probably not even including the inventory loss as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably just straight damages.
Close their doors.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The front framework on there and the glass. I mean, those glasses. I mean, people don't understand.
That glass
Every glass that gets broken is $1,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah,
so it is not cheap.
Yeah. And there's a reason why, you see cars rolling around with broken windows. It's not cheap to replace them with glass.
Tape it up.
Yeah. Don't leave anything in the car.
Just take it all inside.
Put a note on there. Nothing in here. Don't break my other windows. I know, right? They can't read, I guess. But yeah, unfortunately, they were one of the ones that were broken into. And they weren't the only one. I think Top Crop was broken into again that night as well. So they had either a late opening or not at all. Because when I drove by,
Dr. Green Organics was also broken in the same night as Vibes Cannabis.
Yeah,
and so about
off there went down that way. So it's definitely a major problem, and they have a lot of support. They have some type of support.
Yeah.
Because they are getting around quick. So obviously, the police, we've been reporting, a lot of people have been coming through, reporting on the vehicles and things that they've been using. So it's a good idea to keep your eyes out on those.
Yeah. And we're even getting information on some of the people that are involved with this, directly. So, as we said, they're kids. So kids tend to be, kind of stupid and tell too many people certain things. And they're probably at school bragging about it, that we have pictures of them flashing money, stuff like that. So, it's only a matter of time kind of situation.
Yeah.
What have the police done so far? From your guys' side anyway. What have you been told of what's happening?
To be completely honest, it feels like the police are pretty dismissive of the situations. We don't see a lot of sense of urgency from them showing up to them taking the police report. I'm not sure if they're just burnt out from so many dispensaries and smoke shops getting hit, or if they just don't see our line of work as a big priority for them. We're not exactly sure what it is, or if they're just needing more time to continue building their case. But for us, we're just wondering, how many more small businesses are going to have to get hit before meaningful action is taken. You know what I mean? We are not a multi-state operator. We're not corporate. We don't have like a corporate fund that we can just keep tapping into unlimited. We're actually, just normal people that have to work hard, local business owners. And so we would like to see, I guess, more protection for us, a little bit more.
Reluctantly, we've had a lot of good people from the community that have gotten us some good tips.
That's true. Yes.
A lot of good information has been handed over from the community, and we thank everybody for that.
Yes.
Some of that information has been given to the police.
Yes.
Some of that information has been kept for us. And, but no, it's something that we are doing to be a little bit proactive. Also, as well, some of the different dispensaries that have been affected here, we're taking it upon ourselves to start our own personal watch. We're not calling it security, but it is family and friends that are very concerned over these businesses. Mm-hmm. And there will be people watching the dispensaries here overnight, as well as, even on the daily. So
perfect.
We got a lot of good people stepping up to fight for the cause. And, hopefully going to make a change and let people know that we're present and we're passionate about our businesses.
Yes.
And we will do anything to protect that.
Yeah. And we are, we're going down all the right proper pathways and channels. We are going down the right pathways and channels for having security and having the right certifications for those individuals as well. And we are putting our money together and hiring a couple of different patrols as well. So because, this is something that just needs to stop in the community because it's damaging more than just cannabis. It's starting to branch over to mailboxes, cars, other people's businesses, and non-cannabis. It might be a smoke shop, but they are not cannabis.
Yeah.
So that means that you're, a jewelry store, the coin shop, a lot of other people can be hitting at you.
Yeah.
And these dudes are not stopping their brazen, dude. If they're willing to take an SUV and drive it through a building, I don't care if you're 12, 16, 32, 80. Okay. If you're willing to do that, you know what you're doing. You know what's about.
There's not a lot that you're not willing to do at that point.
There's not a lot you're not willing to do at that point. And I think that the biggest thing now is more so what my wife was saying is the fear that the police aren't going to stop it before somebody gets hurt. Yeah. That's the big thing that's there. It's like, is it going to take somebody getting hurt before this becomes much more of a serious deal where they're actually making very significant and credible arrests, because they know I know they know who they are. Yeah. And it seems like obvious. It's not so much the dismissiveness of them when they show up as much as they probably they see the same song and dance, like I was saying, same song and dance, but another place, another avenue, another Sunday, but it's like, who knows what they have to go against to try and go arrest kids, So that's the problem too.
Yeah, because police they're a reactive force. Yeah. They can try to prevent certain things, and certain things they can, but they're mostly a reactive force. Yeah. And so, what you guys have done is you're taking a preventive measure on it for patrols, the Cannahood, crime watch kind of thing is kind of what it sounds like, and then of course hiring legitimate security companies and everything to come and do it. Those are preventive measures, and that does help. And one thing that helps too, and I don't think a lot of people know this: 24/7 shops. It's hard to get robbed when you're always open.
Exactly. They don't really want to hit you when you're open. It's a way different type of robbery.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a different charge too.
Way different, and that's probably and the cops will definitely be going after you in a lot different way.
Exactly.
You're involving people with direct threats, harm, and potential other stuff. So it is a way different thing when people are there. So they're hitting places that are closed. I didn't have a lot of issues until we closed one of our past facilities until we left. Yeah. We actually never were ever broken into until the one time we left.
Yeah, and I've heard that, from many people that, do 24/7s in New Mexico, in general. And most of them are here in Cruces because a lot of cities, opted to give them a time. We're one of the only ones that actually have no time whatsoever for opening and closing in New Mexico. But the people that have ran it, people in the neighborhood actually come to us and tell us, hey, thanks for being here because you guys here, there's less crime now because people don't want to mess around when someone's always there, and they're always watching and they can just, whatever, and close the doors and, call whatever, and, and they can report things. And so they've had people from their own neighborhoods say, hey, thank you for being here. My neighborhood's actually safer than the dispensary is here, which is the total opposite what we were told was going to happen.
Literally, how the tables have turned.
Yeah. They said the crime would go up, and you have the neighbors come over. Hey, thanks for being here, by the way.
You actually are doing good work here.
Yeah, my kids can play at night because you guys are here.
They're so bad after all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're paying our taxes.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess they don't realize that more of their family members in the elderly side, use cannabis than they realize, because they're still kind of hush-hush, like some of the older people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they're some of the most cannabis users in our whole nation. Oh, yeah. Some of the highest using ones.
The whole entire array.
Yeah. Sometimes I go, I'm like, dang, you got more weed than I do. I'm like, shit, dude. So,
home setup.
But yeah, so even with these break-ins happening and everything, I'm glad that, community is starting to step up. We're having all these other dispensaries. We're getting together, I'm not a dispensary, but businesses wise, even cannabis adjacent, we have the smoke shop, even, all of us coming together and saying, hey, something needs to be done. There's only so much the government can do. Let's figure out something that we can do. But also, there is something the government can do. So here in Las Cruces, they do have some grants that you can tap into. However, one of them we can't use because it's a federal grant. We can't use it because, cannabis Schedule 1, blah, blah, blah. I did ask about the Schedule 3 thing, but that hasn't been clarified. And any level really, other than like the TSA and the DOJ. That's about it. And so no one else has really clarified anything. So no one qualifies for that right now. They do have some grants for people that are in the El Paseo and Picacho areas, business areas of town. So if you are in those areas of town and you have been affected by this, they will be able to help you out. I think up to $5,000. And what it is, it's a security measure grant. So if you put cameras in, you put new locks in, you put a sliding metal door down in front of your thing, you can get $5,000 reimbursement back to that. And it doesn't start from when you did it. It starts from when that grant started. So if you previously did it, you can get reimbursed for that money even now. So that's something great. And I was told that they're going to eventually extend that to the whole city. So that way all the businesses can benefit from this if there's an issue, which I think is great, but it's going to take time. And to be honest, I think there needs to be a fund in general for cannabis for things like this statewide. I think that state legislation needs to come down. And I think the general fund and even cannabis taxes that we make from our own industry need to be used for this.
Take a little piece.
Not much, right? You know.
That's a lot of money.
With the PPRTA in Colorado.
A lot
Yeah.
of tax money.
Okay, so there's states
Something
already
like
doing
that,
it.
they
Yeah.
should, because the roads were so terrible.
Yeah.
Potholes everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we'll make cannabis pay for it. So they
Yeah.
voted it in. PPRTA came in, and then it basically took from those type of taxes in certain situations, and it funded a road, basically a road rehabilitation effort. That's the reason why Colorado has amazing paved, gorgeous roads now.
Yeah.
And it didn't really. A lot of people tried to fight, but now nobody cares because everything's nice. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, they could easily take and shift and create new type of opportunities or funds.
Yeah.
It's just up to the community.
Yeah.
You having the good idea for it, maybe you should champion.
Yeah, I think I will this next legislative session. I'll get with some of the lawmakers, and
I would talk about it.
I'll need the effort from the industry as well, though.
I mean, I'm definitely down to do it. I've done the political side and the lobbying side forever because that's really what it was in the very beginning.
Yeah, the more backing we have from the industry itself, the more likely the bill will pass.
Yes.
And if we have a loud voice, because I'm finding out that mostly all adult industries here in New Mexico, nationwide, they don't get a lot lot like even a sex shop. I'm like, that's a legitimate business.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a legitimate. They pay their taxes. Like, why don't so what if they sell a dildo and you can see titties there? Like,
and that's how I found out that they don't offer that grant to cannabis businesses is because when New Era was broken into, the community outreach for LCPD told me about the grant and told me to apply. And then when I did and was denied for the, because it is a federal fund, they were able to bring another outreach officer to explain, yes, actually cannabis, liquor, tobacco, and adult entertainment don't qualify, and that actually Eros, which is one of the adult entertainment stores here in town, had been vandalized horribly a couple years back. All their windows completely smashed out, just horrible vandalism, and they weren't able to get any of that fund. You know what I mean? They were one of the most badly affected in that time period that they were able to give me an example of business that was left to fend for themselves due to the fact that this is federal money and there's just certain things that the feds won't support or help.
Well, the rescheduling will definitely help with all that.
Yeah, especially once it's figured out.
Yes.
At least half of the business could at least, get some, funding or something,
Yeah.
Yes.
Right now, I mean, the way they made it, half of it can, because most of it's focused on the medicinal side.
Yeah.
But the Schedule 3 will bring out a lot of the
And then maybe it'll help with the checkpoint too. I always think about that too.
Well, it is
once
going to
they
help
do,
with the checkpoint.
because then we can maybe just call all of it medical. Like,
That's what
it's
I
all
did. That
medical.
you guys see that meme I made a while back? Had that Forrest Gump looking at. I was like, and all of a sudden, all the cannabis going through the border checks became medical.
Yes, it's all medical now.
Yeah.
Isn't it all medical in New Mexico anyway?
It is technically.
Technically, there's no
use.
real distinguishing factor between rec and medical other than I have a card, and that's really what makes it medical in New Mexico is just having the card. The same plant. I mean, you grow it in the same place, you manufacture it in the same area. You put it in the same packaging.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
they tried to make it like it was something all this different. It wasn't. It was just the color of the tag. It's just the way you identify it. But I mean, it's the same plant. The stones came from pretty much the same sources, and you just sell them to your rec side if it came from medical.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatever. So it was just dumb because it's just like dumb extra hoops to have to jump through when you know that the plant is the plant and this plant's the mom and it's produced all these plants, but it's just a tag difference that now makes it stupid.
And that's where I get into, there's a lot of there's a lot of deregulation we need in the cannabis industry. There's a lot of dumb stuff that we do that it's unnecessary. You don't need it.
Pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It's a lot better here than most places I've been.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, because I've never operated in other areas. I've only been able to hear from people.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that it's not as bad. But I still think that there's certain areas even here that we can be like, all right, we don't need that, man. Come on.
Border checkpoint.
Yeah, right.
Do not need you to take our stuff anymore.
Yeah, it's like, come on, we're legal.
It really is.
It's just bad enough we're getting broken into right now, you know. So
Getting robbed from every angle.
yeah.
Get robbed.
And then you get no support. Only your city and your state can support you. So it's like, well, fuck, man.
The city's like, we've been broke for a long time.
I actually got to experience a bit of that at the border stop.
Oh my god!
I got pinned at the border, and I got caught with like 75 pounds.
Oh shit!
Like a couple thousand joints and stuff that they had to repossess for me, right? And you know, they wanted to take the car and everything like that, and you know, it's just it sucks as somebody that's licensed legally in New Mexico and everything like that, and all that hoo-ha, and then dealing with all that. Like they should actually, be trying to, protect the New Mexico businesses or have some kind of regulated permission to get through for the people that are licensed or whatnot.
Yes.
But no. That like I was talking about earlier, it would help New Mexico just be a little bit more fluid with the business,
right.
And just really does put a bad damper on everything. So
yeah,
especially for down here. I mean, we have a great market down here.
Oh, we do.
But other people can bring their stuff into our market, whereas we can't take it up. So
and I've mentioned that many times. There's certain brands that I have yet to try or don't get to try very often, unless I go to Albuquerque or somewhere away from like Cruces and like our border area. Because any direction you go here, you hit a border check. North, south, east, west. If you try to go around it, they're there.
They're always there.
Yeah, they're there.
And get away from them.
If you think they're not there, they're there.
Drones,
yeah,
people.
Yeah, they got cameras, they got sensors, they got There was one time when I was younger. This is before I even joined the military. I didn't even smoke weed then. I was working on base. I went to El Paso to go clubbing with some friends, and I was coming home, and I stopped on the side of the road to go pee out in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. It's dark. And then when I went back, the agent knew I stopped. He said, "Why'd you stop back there?" And that was like 20 miles before I even hit the border check. He was like, "Why'd you stop back there?" And I was like, "To go pee?" He was like, "Oh, okay, have a good night." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Like, and this was 2006, 7. Yeah, this is way back then.
Radar.
Yeah, they had the sensors out there and everything, and they the license plate radar, whatever they had out there, they knew I stopped.
Drones, satellites. They're just using all their fancy tech. They're like, no, that camera right there. Like out there with drones.
Yeah, I know, right? And I was like,
a cactus is actually a camera.
Right. Guy dressed as a cactus.
Body cam on.
Someone drives by. I didn't know we had cigaros here.
I know.
So, but in general, I really hope that something gets figured out. I'm glad that you guys are being proactive. We're doing some other stuff too, and I'll be able to talk about it here soon in the next couple of weeks. But I really hope that these kids realize what they're doing and what's happening, or they at least get caught and they have to pay for what they did, and the whole justice system takes over. Yeah, let's hope.
A big ticket.
Yeah, that is. I'm like, ugh.
It's been quite a few weeks.
I know, right?
It feels like it's been like 3 months now.
I know, because like this really just started almost last month. I think is like one of the first ones.
Started getting a lot of attention. But
yeah,
they've been hitting spots probably since like March.
Something like, because people have been.
I think it's been about 8 weeks of break-ins lately.
That one smoke shop, I believe that hit.
Lucky Smoke Shop.
Yes, you're right. They did
originally a few months back too.
Yeah,
they got in there and. There was like one kid that got in there, or somebody else hit it and got in there and did something.
Art Greenleaf. I heard Art Greenleaf too.
Yeah. So I don't know. A lot of places have been getting hit. So.
Attempted break-ins.
And
it's unfortunate that a lot of these places are staying silent on it when we could all be banding together like we're doing right now with the small group that we have.
Well, I think that's what's gonna. This type of thing can help it.
It's gonna be what starts the fire.
I think so.
Because people will feel like they have a place to go.
Yeah.
I think people maybe feel like they have to, like they don't have the support.
Yeah.
But they do. All we have to do is just like talk to each other and get around some of the other bullshit. But just talking to each other. You can have your business. I'm not taking your business. Trust me, there's more than enough business for cannabis. We can, if there was a little bit better and we had a little bit more deregulation, like you're saying, every one of our shops would be sold out.
Yeah, exactly.
And
There would not be enough to supply how many people actually want this product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And overall, too, it does start with how we address our youth. Like you were saying,
that is a big thing.
Las Cruces, beyond the cannabis stuff that has been going on, has had a lot of impactful shit go on with these youngsters. You know what I mean? And they're just youngsters that need a little bit of guidance, man.
Yeah.
These are youngsters that were youngsters like us, too. You know what I mean? Whether it's an ass whooping or it's a talk. You know what I mean? We needed both.
Yeah.
We were growing up. It was an ass whooping and a talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, some good love, too. So, we encourage everybody, of course, stand up for yourselves and everything, but also have some compassion for these youth and try to make that difference from the root of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's from the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the friends, anybody that we are to these youth. And hopefully we can get some better support in the city for things for them to do. You know?
I think so too. And I've said that many times that, it's back on the community and the parents, to make sure that, these kids are doing the right things and not falling into, patterns like this, like they shouldn't be robbing anybody,
No.
Like stealing is something you shouldn't do, especially, and I get it. People wanting to hustle, but back in the day, you bought your pounds and then you hustled. You didn't steal your pounds and then hustle. Yeah, exactly. That's terrible business to start out with. And so, it was a victimless crime when we paid for it and sold it. But when you're stealing it for someone and then selling it, especially from a legal business, there's total victims involved in this.
A lot of victims of the crime.
Yeah, and right now there is. And so I hope something gets done. I do feel that this is something that's going to catch fire here soon, even more, especially in the area. And I think the efforts with everybody in the room right now, I think we have a chance to get some real change and some real eyes on this. So I appreciate all of you for joining me today. And it's been a really great conversation.
It's a great show.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Of course.
We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, and then good luck to all of you, the new brands and all. And, I can't wait to have you all again to get an update and everything, especially you, Bobby. I really want to hear what you got going on next time.
I was a little reserved today. I got a lot to say, but I'm pretty emotional over everything that has been going on. So I'm very happy that we could address this today, And, a lot of things that I can speak on don't really need to be spoken about. But we're going to be all right. We're going to get past all this.
Yes.
And I appreciate you bringing awareness, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it, and we definitely have some really, really cool expansion opportunities we'll talk about next time.
Definitely. I appreciate that.
It from this one, but
Okay.
Bobby and my wife here, we got a really good one coming. So.
Oh, yeah. We're keeping that one on her.
Because that's a big one.
Well, we'll do this. Whenever it happens and you're able to talk about it, we'll bring you back on. How about that?
That's
cool.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. I appreciate it, guys. And thank you all so much for watching this episode. And if you have any information on, these break-ins or anything, let them know, hit these people up or the police and get the information straight to them. We don't need people breaking into businesses. All right, guys. I'll see you next week for another episode of #Grassy Logic. We'll see you. All right.
Peace
Cheers.
out.
Grassy.